And you talked with both candidates and voters there on the ground. First, tell us what they had to say.
Oh, really, Adrienne, good morning. This is now a national race, and it is very much being framed as a referendum on the past two presidents, President Trump and then the current president, President Biden. The person who seems to be winning that argument from a referendum standpoint is Glenn Youngkin, the Republican. That is incredibly significant, given the fact that Virginia is a plus 10 Biden state, which means President Biden won it by 10 points. Now, a year later exactly, you have a Republican running neck and neck or running ahead of Terry McAuliffe, the longtime Democratic fundraiser, a guy with 43 years in Democratic politics. You talk about what the mood is on the ground as we were at rallies for both candidates. The Youngkin crowds remind you a little bit of the MAGA rallies, fired up, dad rock playlists. There is an energy there that seems both palpable and in a way seductive, just the energy itself. McAuliffe rallies, a little bit angry, sort of sleepy, and not that well attended. Now, you got to be very careful as a political reporter on the trail about how much weight you put into crowd size, enthusiasm, and energy, but there's definitely a difference. And when the polls are this close, oftentimes it's energy, or in the words of my good friend Mike Allen, the big mo that can make the difference, the momentum.
Leland,
what is the momentum you're experiencing now in this huge surge you've seen in the polls say about America?
Well, I think what it says, well, I can tell you what I hear from America, because I'm hearing from a lot of people, which is thank you, Virginia, for standing up for us. Because we have so many of the same concerns in our communities. Crime and schools and jobs and too expensive and overtaxed and government that is telling us what to do as opposed to working for us.
And Youngkin said the key word in that, which was schools and education. For the first time since 2020, perhaps even first time in recent memory in a governor's race, education is the #1 issue in the polls. Not the economy, not COVID, not anything else. Education is the #1 issue. And Adrienne, education in Virginia has really become a proxy for so many other things. Critical race theory being taught in schools, the transgender bathroom debate, which is big in Virginia, mask mandates and vaccine mandates. That anger among parents is something that Youngkin has been able to capitalize on.
certainly it has become an issue that can't be ignored. Youngkin, as you mentioned, tapping into that particular platform very heavy. McAuliffe, meanwhile, is saying that, you know, he's trying to associate Youngkin with Donald Trump. What are the political implications if indeed Virginia elects Youngkin over McAuliffe?
Huge political implications. In a way, it's not really that great for Trump because Glenn Youngkin, I interviewed him. I've watched a lot of his clips. He never says the word Trump. Even when I asked him about President Trump, he won't talk about Trump. He talks about Madison and Washington and Jefferson and the founders in America, but never says the word Donald Trump. If Glenn Youngkin is able to win despite embracing Donald Trump, it proves two things. One, that you've got a Republican who can win without embracing Donald Trump. And two, the way to victory in a blue state or a purple state is by not embracing Donald Trump. In one person's word, it might be able to prove, in a sense, that the emperor of the Republican Party has no clothes. On the other hand, you've got Terry McAuliffe out there who will say Trump 20 or 30 times in a 15-minute stump speech and then another couple of times in an interview. And you get a sense when you talk to McAuliffe, he's a little bewildered about how things can be this close. Take a listen. Biden plus 10 state, why is this even close?
Always going to be close if you know the history of this state, because it's off here. It's not a presidential, obviously presidential turnout. And I also got to remind you, for 44 years, the party that wins the White House, the next year the other party wins the governor's mansion. I'm the only guy to break it. I won in 13, of course. President Obama won in 12.
That's an interesting point because Virginia has a one-term term limit. So Terry McAuliffe was already governor of Virginia, was term limited, and now he is running again. Interestingly enough, Adrienne, there are people who are motivated by this concept that Youngkin equals Trump, Trump equals bad, don't vote for Youngkin. I talked to one voter at a McAuliffe rally, and I said, who are you voting for? I'm voting for McAuliffe. Okay. Why? Well, because he's not Trump. Didn't say he's not Youngkin, said he's not Trump. And I said, all right, well, so is there anything about McAuliffe you like? She goes, No, I don't really like McAuliffe. He didn't do a good job last time, but I don't like Trump, so I'm voting for McAuliffe. It's working for some people. The question we'll find out tonight is, did it work for enough?
All right, so much information to synergize here. There is a lot going on in Virginia. Thank you so much for watching. Make sure to click on the red subscribe button below so you can get more of NewsNation's fact-driven, unbiased coverage.